these are some things that you ought to look for whenever you're buying a used lawnmower. The first thing I usually check is I pop the hood open, see what's it got for a motor. Pull the dipstick out. What's the oil like in it? This oil, it's not too bad. Not too dirty. Then again, it's not freshly changed either. But then what's the air filter like in this? This one again, the air filter isn't too bad in. So I can see that someone has done a little bit of work to this motor. Now, next thing I look for is what's it got for a transmission. Now there's mainly 3 types of transmissions. This one happens to be hydrostatic. You got this lever, and the further forward you push it, the faster you go. You want to stop, bring it into neutral, back up. Again, the further back you go, the faster you go. You want to stop, put it back in neutral. These are very nice to mow your lawn with. I can maneuver one of these a lot quicker than a gear drive. Now, hydro, it's got this quick pin. Here you push it in. If you want to drive the tractor, you pull it. If you want to push it. Year, I don't really bother too much on the year. Cutting deck wise, this one's a 42. Decent size. I would kind of classify one of these as about, if you cut maybe 1.5 acres or under, these are pretty good. You start pushing 2 acres and you kind of have to start thinking of something a little bigger. But I'm just, look the deck over, check the belts, make sure it's all routed where it should be, check for holes or soft spots, and then pull the chute up, grab a hold of the blade, check for bearing slip. This one's pretty tight, and if I spin the blade, the bearings sound fairly new, not too old, not too new. Then start it up and see how it runs. See, this one even idles good. This one's a pretty decent mower. Even the headlights work on this one. In my area, I classify a mower like this around the $500 range. Now this is another example I got. This one's an older Craftsman. I call it the Cube Tractor just for how boxy it is. And this is a pretty decent machine as well. Again, this is something else I would probably classify in the $400 or $500 range. This one, nice and tight. I gotta do a little bit more work to this one, including change out this oil. This has moisture in the oil. The air filter's new. The fuel lines are new. The fuel filter, it's starting to get on the old side, but it's okay. The air filter in this is new. How does it run? While you have it running, try the deck out in the drive. See if it's very responsive. The blade brakes don't quite catch. But at least it's very responsive on the engagement. It doesn't like take a while to get up to speed. Last thing is what I look for when I'm buying a used mower to fix up and then resell. Figure what's it worth when you're done working on it? What's it worth in the mowing stage? How much you got to put into it? So forth. Like, say for instance, if you're buying, say, a machine like this, and say it's only worth $400 and you pay $300 for it and you have to put another $100 in it, it kind of doesn't make very much sense. So this one, for example, I paid a $100 bill for this, and I pretty much had all the parts to fix it. The steering wheel was missing, but I already had this one that I took off a junk mower that I was parting out. Really about all I got in it, besides the $100, is about $6 and a can of paint to paint the deck. Other than that, I haven't really put anything in this. So you have to figure what's it worth, how much is it going to cost to fix, and then what can you get out of it when you're done. Here's a Toro right here that I bought. Again, paid a $100 bill for this. They told me, the people that sold it to me, they said that it was running, they got off for a minute and it wouldn't start back up. And something else I noticed with it is all 4 tires were flat. So, could always tube them. And then I've also seen some folks will fill them full of automatic transmission fluid. I'm half thinking of trying it out. I haven't done that before. The point is, though, with this, what I ended up finding was wrong with it was the starter was seized in place from this being stored outside. So really, getting it running wise, I didn't have anything in this. I still don't have anything in this. I do see I got to replace the valve cover gasket, so that's probably about $10 there. It's going to need a deck belt too, so there's 20. So that 100 goes to 130, and then if I tubed both front tires, this one goes flat pretty quick. The other ones have actually stayed up, surprisingly. But say if I just tube this one, in my area, tubed on a Tractor Supply is $15. So we're at 145 right now. And say this machine in my area, it's worth $450, $500 in my area. I'd list it for $6, hoping to get $5. So that's not too bad. For example of some mowers that I fixed up in the past, I had a Husqvarna 21K46. Paid a $100 bill for it. The only thing that was really wrong with it was they hit something and they broke one of the deck spindles. And in my area, a replacement deck spindle at a dealer is about $35, $40. And then I bought a blade to go with it since they bent the blade. And then it needed a valve cover gasket. So in the end, after buying all the parts I needed to fix it, I had about 75 in parts. So 175, I sold the machine for $540. Another one that I did was a Cub Cadet. Paid a $100 bill for that again. It had a few things, small things wrong with it. The biggest one was it had an electric PTO. They pulled the knob and it pulled the wires out. So I had to splice the wires back together. Then they burnt the belt up, so I had to put a new belt on. Then on those Cub Cadets, they got like what holds the PTO clutch. I had to reinstall that. That was removed. And this was kind of an unusual fix. But the frame was broke on it when I got it. So I just jacked it up close to level, put a piece of steel behind it, drilled some holes, bolted it back together. Sold it for $500. In the end, I had $140 in that machine, and I sold it for $5, so that was a pretty good profit that day.